Kryptonians. Holy shit, it has been, it's like 3.5, almost a month since I have gotten in front of this camera and I've shot a video. First of all, I apologize to anybody out there that expected a whole bunch of reviews and a whole bunch of videos to start popping up. I've had life, I've told you this before, sometimes life interferes with this thing of mine and makes it hard to do videos. You guys want to know that God's honest truth, I actually spent a couple of weeks with my lights being off. Yeah, all these lights, the things that power my video, like the things that I can't do my videos without. I had no lights in the house, and so it was kind of hard to shoot videos here. I had to try to shoot at other places, and then it got too difficult to try to maintain that while also doing my work schedule. So I had to take a few weeks off from this thing. Now the lights are back, and other things in my life are situated to the point that I feel comfortable getting back in front of this camera and letting you guys know how I feel about certain movies. I have missed you guys. I have missed this. I know you guys are wondering, where's the Superman hat? Well, there's a couple reasons. For one thing, I can't find my Superman hat. I think I left it at somebody's house along with my second hat that I would be wearing if, you know, if I couldn't find that hat. I have a secondary Superman hat, but that hat is missing as well. Also, the Toronto Raptors are playing for a championship today, and I'm rooting hard for the Raptors. Not only because I want to see the Golden State dynasty end, but also because Kawhi Leonard is my favorite player right now, and so I'm really rooting hard for the Raptors, and I thought, why not give them a good luck charm, you know, put on my Patriots hat, because, you know, this represents winning and success and envy and all that great stuff, you know, 6-time Super Bowl champion hat. Just want to throw that out there. Bitch. But whatever. I'm not here to talk about the Raptors. I'm not here to talk about the Patriots. I'm not here to talk about anything else. What I'm going to do in this video is talk about 3 movies that I have seen over the last couple weeks. Not going to be as in-depth or as detailed as some of my usual reviews. I want to get them out of the way because I want to do solo individual videos for movies like Godzilla King of the Monsters and X-Men Dark Phoenix, which did come out this past weekend. Those 3 movies that I'm going to be talking about today are Aladdin, Ma, and Brightburn. I did see these movies. I do have thoughts and feelings on these movies. But just in case you guys have not seen them, again, no spoilers. I don't like spoilers. Not going to be doing that. God, I just feel so hype. I feel so full of energy. I can't wait to start misremembering people's names, coming up with a whole bunch of corny jokes, improvisation style, like right here while I'm doing the camera work. Like, it's just such a great feeling. I feel like that coach after that, like that coach meme where that guy is just like, let's go. Like, actually, you know what? I'm going to put that in the video. Let's go! Don't act like you guys didn't scream that out loud to nobody in general when this video popped up in your notification feed. Come on. I know you guys at this point. First off, I'm going to start off talking about Aladdin. Aladdin is directed by Guy Ritchie. It stars Will Smith as Genie, and it stars Naomi Scott as Jasmine. And to be honest, outside of those 2 people, I don't know who the other people are. I know of them. Like, I'm pretty sure if you said their names to me, I'd be like, ah, okay, them. But for right now, I can't remember their names because this is what I do on this channel. So I apologize to the actors for Aladdin and Jafar for forgetting your names. Even the actor who plays the Sultan of Agrabah in this movie. I apologize for not remembering your names. It's not because you didn't do a good job. You did do a good job. So Aladdin is the adaptation of the old animated Aladdin movie that came out in the 90s, like that classic Aladdin movie that had Robin Williams as the genie, like one of the most iconic animated performances of all time. I will say that the performances in the movie are fine, like they're good, and I know that feels like a backhanded compliment, but it's not really. Their performances are okay. They're doing exactly what the director and what the screenwriters are telling them to do, and they're performing it to, I think, the best of their ability, so you can't really get mad at them. It's kind of a workman-like day for all the actors in this movie. The kid who plays Aladdin, I think his name starts with an M. I can't remember his actual name. I thought he was solid as Aladdin overall. Definitely moments in this movie where he captures that wide-eyed, awkward charm that the Aladdin in the animated movie had a long time ago. There are other times where I do feel like he was overacting it just a tad bit, you know, if you go by his facial expressions and the way he delivered some of his dialogue. Bottom line though, he was pretty good. He was fine. I like his chemistry with Genie, and I will say this, Genie was the best part about this entire movie. Will Smith just has that natural energy and charisma. He's kind of the perfect choice for a Genie in hindsight. I will say this, there are definitely some shitty scenes of CGI with his Genie in this movie. Like, if you were worried about his look from the trailer and from the early promotional magazines and stuff that showed Genie and he looked big and blue and disgusting looking, well, he still kind of looks like that. I'm not going to be able to defend some of the CGI for Genie in this movie, but if you can get past that, I like what they did with Genie in this movie. I like what Will Smith brought to the role. Genie's the best character in the movie. I would say that the best performance most likely goes to Naomi Scott as Jasmine. She was terrific in this movie, actually. There's definitely a modern sense of empowerment and feminism with her character. There's a great new song that they added to the soundtrack called Speechless that fits with her character and fits with the vibe that they were going for. And I thought that was a pretty damn good song. So I like everything, almost everything they did with Jasmine in this movie. In general, it's hard to not compare it to the old animated movie because it is kind of a direct adaptation. They do take exact lines and scenes from that movie and translate them to the live action screen. They obviously add some tweaks and some changes and add some stuff to make the runtime a little bit longer. I would say my only major issues with the movie is just Jafar. Did not like the guy who played Jafar. There's nothing against the actor. I'm sure he's a solid actor in general, but for this role, I feel like he was miscast. So many moments where he's trying to convince you he's a slime ball or that he's evil or menacing or intimidating or something, and it just doesn't work. I'd also say that while the musical numbers are okay, the singing performances within those musical numbers are kind of hit and miss, and there is a song that is tacked on in a scene late in this movie that feels very out of place, and it just felt kind of unnecessary to me. Regardless, I did enjoy Aladdin overall. I'd give it a solid passing grade. I think I would probably put this one in the golden age for Man of Steel if I had to give it one. It's just watchable enough for it to not be meh. Like if it were on cable or something, I'd tune in if there was nothing else to watch. Next up, we have Brightburn. Now, Brightburn is that classic case of when we saw a trailer, we knew exactly what this movie was going to be. That's exactly what this movie was. This movie set itself up as kind of like the antithesis of a Superman story. You got this thing that crashes on Earth. It's this kid. He's got these weird powers. And this story asks what happens if he turns evil. That's exactly what this movie does. It basically takes everything you know and love about Superman and it twists it into a dark horror movie. And I'll honestly say I enjoyed this one too. I think that the performances and the directing was good. James Gunn produced this movie, so I definitely felt a little bit of his influence in here. If you go back and look at some of his earlier works with horror movies, say that I'm a little bit disappointed in this movie. It could have gone in a different direction. It could have actually turned this into an interesting character study. After a while in this movie, it kind of devolved into a cliched horror movie. Usual cliches, your usual jump scares, your usual whatevers that you usually associate with horror movies. That's what this movie turned into. There is something that happens that kind of explains why the plot in this movie is happening that I honestly thought was kind of dumb when I first thought about it. In general, there's really nothing to write home about in this movie. I mean, there's some effective thrills and some effective scares, and there's some effective carnage and damage done by this little kid Superman. It feels like they could have gone further in some areas, even though it is a rated R movie, which feels weird to say. Bottom line is, I kind of enjoyed Brightburn. Brightburn was solid. Brightburn was nothing to write home about. I'd give it the same rating I give Aladdin, honestly. I'd put it in the golden age for Man of Steel. I'll be honest, I remember nothing and nobody from this entire movie other than the fact Octavia Spencer is awesome. Octavia Spencer is the entire reason I wanted to watch this movie. She is the entire reason why the movie is even remotely watchable. Obviously, if you don't know anything about Ma, it's basically the story of how this woman, you know, she starts holding these basement parties in her house with a whole bunch of alcohol and a whole bunch of drugs and stuff, and all the kids in the area, they like going there, and then she starts acting really weird, like stalker-ish. She starts treating them crazy, and then it turns into a horror movie, basically. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the general gist of the plot here. And again, Octavia Spencer looks like she's having a lot of fun with this role. She's used to playing so many other different type of roles. She's obviously, I think, been nominated or won an Oscar before. Great to see her cut loose in this movie and have a little bit more fun. I really enjoyed seeing her in this movie. She chewed up the scenery. Anytime you hear somebody say that this person chewed up the scenery, we're not just talking about bubblegum. Like, we're talking about every time she was on screen, she made you want to see more of her. Unfortunately, she's just surrounded by a bunch of cliche, bland-ass characters in this movie, a bunch of characters that make a bunch of stupid decisions. You know, that's basically what the rest of this movie is. The rest of this movie is completely nondescript. There's nothing interesting about any of the other characters. There's nothing interesting about the direction for the movie other than what they do with Octavia Spencer's performance. She is it. She is the entire movie. I would probably put Ma in the Fortress of Solitude because it felt like a very average movie in terms of its directing and its visuals and its characters, but Octavia Spencer is the one A+ thing about the movie that makes you go, yeah, I'd watch it again just for her because she was fun. Guys, those are my brief thoughts on Aladdin, Brightburn, and Ma. Stay tuned. I have videos coming up for Godzilla, King of the Monsters, for X-Men, Dark Phoenix. I still have to get to my Game of Thrones recap. It feels weird. Game of Thrones feels like it ended like 3 years ago. I'm doing a video on that. I'm still going to be doing a video recapping Into the Badlands. Man, I just have a lot of work to get to. Thank you guys for being patient. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I'm sorry that I was gone for so long. I haven't said this in 3 weeks, but if you like what you see, tell me how you feel and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Go Raptors!